Hi, my name is Sean. I'm actually coming out and making a video and now a series with the sole intention of trying to reach out to those that are out there on that frequency of truth, trying to understand what all of this is about. Honestly, this whole past 18, 19 months that the pandemic has been going on, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have been actually questioning what's been going on in this world that this new world, as they call it, the new normal, as they're putting out there. I've been studying the New World Order, the oligarchs, the elite for over 20 years now. And I've read about their plans. I've read it in major documents, their admitted statements. And just throughout this entire 18, 19-month period of the pandemic, it's just lie on top of lie on top of lie. And I'm just sick and tired of it, honestly. It's starting from like 15 days to slow the spread, from the masks to lockdowns to the nursing homes, where if you can go look up Governor Whitner and Governor Kimo, were sending positive COVID patients into nursing homes. But the main media that comes out for Governor Kimo is something terrible he did as well, right? But it's in relation to him, allegedly sexually assaulting multiple women, right? That's the one that gets the news because that's more juicy, right? Because you have different females. Oh, who's this female? Where did they work? It's all plays into the greater game, which is like keeping people busy, but really from preventing them from actually questioning the actual source of the problem. Obviously, so the nursing homes, we have the lockdowns, the unnecessary lockdowns to cripple small business. Everything is becoming more and more vertically integrated. All the big major box stores, the Amazons of the world, the Walmarts of the world, the Costco's of the world, Sam's Club, what have you, right? Everything is becoming more and more vertically integrated, which means the small businesses are being muscled out. You can't work anymore. They're being muscled out. You're having the big major stores. All of those businesses. Who's going to buy sell those supplies? Well, conveniently, it's the big box stores. It's Amazon. We'll get it to you in 48 hours. It's a great service. But let's just speak about the truth, though, right? Who's benefiting? It's always the major, huge, massive, enormous sized corporations. As well, the fraudulent PCR testing, right? The PCR test, if they run it at a 40 cycle count, you can magnify any cell. And you can pick up anything. You can pick up viruses from many, many years ago if you're using a high cycle count of 40. So the PCR test is totally fraudulent, so which means that they could lower the test to 20 and they won't pick up anything. But in 40, yeah, we'll pick up something. This game has been going on, right? And I'm seeing the game as it's playing out in front of us. And I know you are. And if you haven't seen it all, you've seen some of what I'm saying, right? To the ventilator use, right? Or actually, you can go look this up. USA Today, go to Google, type in USA Today, ventilator, fact check. They were given $13,000 to those who got a COVID positive test during last year's lockdown. I'm not sure if it's still happening, but I wouldn't doubt if it is. This is a majorly subsidized thing that's going on, government sponsored. And $13,000 for a COVID positive patient, plus another $39,000 for those that are intubated with the ventilator. So that's like $53,000 for a positive COVID patient with also being ventilated or intubated using mechanical ventilation. Are we not seeing what's going on here? Are we really not seeing what's going on? So there's money involved. There's money involved for patients that are COVID positive and they're intubated. So hospitals would get that. If the hospital's getting that in these COVID wards, that's a pretty nice incentivized structure for nurses to follow along too. And by the way, a lot of nurses have seen what's going on here. And they've spoken out, but of course they're censored. We're seeing this mass censorship, right? All the fake news, literally. Like, I've been saying fake news prior to even President Trump saying it 4 years ago, right? The news has been fake for a very long time. And obviously now we're talking about what's the next hot button issue, which has always been the end game, by the way, which is the vaccines. It's all about the vaccine. They were never going to leave us alone with this vaccine. I hope you know that. This has always been the end game, or one of the end games. There's multiple end games here, but step one of the end game is to get a shot in every single person's arm throughout the entire world. That has been the stated and admitted goal. I remember when Bill Gates first came out during the beginning of the pandemic. He said, yeah, we want to make sure we get shots out to everyone in the world because of a virus that they manufactured. Yeah, they manufactured. By the way, this is coming out now, right? Rand Paul has already put Dr. Anthony Fauci under the gun for this, for doing gain-of-function testing on the SARS virus, which gain-of-function means to increase the virulence of a particular pathogen or virus, its transmissibility, strengthen it. Should be illegal, by the way. But when when in 2014 or so, during the Obama administration, when there was a moratorium put, they shipped the gain-of-function research to China, to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. But the money that was being sent to them was being sent through and redirected back to China through a shell company. What's the name of the shell company? EcoHealth Alliance. This is all admitted. This has actually come out in public testimony on Capitol Hill. And now this is starting to impact my life. Let me explain you why. Because on September 1st, it's all impacting all of our lives. But now it's a direct impact on myself, my family, my children, and our livelihood. What do I mean by that? So on September 1st, just earlier this month, I received an email, and so did everybody else that are U.S.-based employees at where I work. And it stated that it said, for those of you who have done a self-verification of your vaccination status, 50% of our U.S.-based employees have certified that and self-proclaimed or admitted in the system that they're fully vaccinated. So to those of you who are fully vaccinated, thank you. And for those of you who are not, now's the time to take action. Wow, that's a pretty targeted remark right there, don't you think? That was on September 1st. Came from my employer. They're now trying to use coercion through inconvenience. What do I mean by that? All right, so you have them saying, you need to be fully vaccinated. This is what they're saying to me in the email. They said, by October 11th, we want everyone in the U.S.-based employees, to be fully vaccinated or submit to a weekly negative weekly COVID test if you're going to a customer facility or one of our internal locations. This is coercion through inconvenience. I've already seen this playbook, right? This playbook was already used. So let me give you an example where this playbook's already been used. Playbook's already been used in specifically with post 9/11. So once the crisis of 9/11 was introduced, what did that bring about? It brought in the Department of Homeland Security, which underneath that is TSA, the Transportation Security Administration, and the Patriot Act. But I'm going to focus in on the Transportation Security Administration, TSA. When we all went flying, we started noticing the body scanners come in. But a lot of people never questioned it. Of course, myself, I'm always questioning, because when you know what the end game is, and you all know there's certain reasons why things are put in place, and some crises are more accentuated and given more attention for a specific goal. Generally, if you want to honestly know what the goal is, you just have to start looking at at civil liberties and how that can be more and more inconvenient. So what was it with the TSA? They said either you can actually, they didn't even announce this. You had to do your own investigation. But after my investigation, whenever you could go, when you went out flying, you'd have to go through a body scanner, or you'd have to ask them if you want to opt out, which I religiously did, of course. I opted out. What does that mean? Opt out, meaning that if you don't want to go through the body scanner, we have to at least patch you down. So either or, options are bad, right? Either I get microwaved with the body scanner, or what happens? I have to get a pat down. So this is what they're doing. So it's coercion through inconvenience. So either you got to go through if you want to go through a pat down every time you fly, or you got to go through a body scanner, right? It's a lot easier just to put your hands up. How do they do it? They put your hands up and they'll give you a quick scan, right? I've been watching all of this, right? All play out. And I'm pretty stubborn, right? When you're told to do something, the natural response for any disagreeable human being, like, okay, I don't want to be told what to do, right? You know, I like this thing called freedom, which leads me to my next point. What is that? So on September 1st, I got that email. Interesting. September 9th, our so-called president, Joe Biden, he comes out and he says, I'm going to mandate for 100 or more employees for every American corporation. I'm going to mandate that you are fully vaccinated, or you have to get a negative COVID test. Interesting. That's exactly what my company stated 9 days earlier. See, the funny thing is that you got to make some good light out of this. So the good thing is that since I already knew this was coming, once the pandemic started, I looked at my wife and I said, uh-oh, it's here. The New World Order has gone live. They are going operational. And that's exactly what they've done so far. Slowly but surely, they're bringing in more and more top-down government control, more totalitarian, more authoritarian. So when Joe Biden said that I'm going to mandate all Americans, which is about 80 million, according to what he said, 80 million Americans have chosen not to get vaccinated. Good for them. Good for them. You know? We still live in the United States of America, man. You know? The land of the free. The home of the brave. The place where my father in the early 70s migrated to from Pakistan. You know? And you know what he said? He said, it's not about freedom. It's not about freedom or personal choice. It's about helping others or saving others. It's not about freedom, though. The President of the United States of America said it's not about our freedom or personal choice. Sad state of affairs that the United States of America is constantly and continuously devolving further down into. It's like throughout this entire 18-month period, you know, the global population has developed a Stockholm-like syndrome, learned helplessness towards their governments and their totalitarian response throughout this entire pandemic. They say trust the science, right? I love science. But guess what? Scientists aren't infallible. They're not above making mistakes. They're not above errors. Let me give you an example. Do you know what the fourth leading cause of death was in the United States of America? Hospital-associated infections, also known as HAIs, also known as nosocomial infections. The United States was fourth place in nosocomial infections. Hospital-induced death or doctor-induced death. Doctors are amazing, right? They do a great service, but that doesn't mean that they can't make mistakes. By the way, they were we're fourth place behind. In what were the three leading causes of death above nosocomial infection? Number 1, cancer, heart disease, and stroke, and then fourth, hospital-associated infections. Oh, here's another example. Anytime you've ever seen a pharmaceutical, like some pharmaceutical product commercial, I don't care if it's Chantix, Viagra, Cialis, Lipitor. If you ever seen those commercials, pharmaceutical spots, like a 30-second or 60-second commercial spot, what do we see? We see for of those 30 seconds, 25 of those seconds is literally reading the side effects. If you ever have any headache, you could have headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, so on and so forth, right? The whole commercial is just talking about the potential adverse effects, right? Side effects. Man, I would love to see a COVID vaccine commercial. I would love to see a COVID vaccine commercial for this new mRNA platform. If you were to take the COVID vaccine, it could cause myocarditis, encephalitis, so on and so forth. And by the way, these things are happening, by the way. It's not being covered in the news. It's not being covered in the news. And of course, they just like they do, they're always gonna have to put somebody into some category because that makes them more easily dismissible. What do I mean by that? Those anti-vaxxers. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm pro-immune system. Let me repeat that one more time. I am not an anti-vaxxer. I am pro-immune system. I am let's talk about science now. By the way, I'm an engineer, right? My thought process is very similar to those of doctors. Because the doctors, they use a deductive reasoning. We also use, as an engineer, when I'm troubleshooting either networks, network security devices, firewalls, routers, switches. So I've been doing networks, network security, and cybersecurity for a combination of 24 years. Let's talk about the immune system. You have two immune responses that are within every human being. One is the innate immune response, or the adaptive immune response. Two separate immune responses. One is the front line, uses mast cells, dendritic cells, neutrophils, so on and so forth. These are your front macrophages, right? This is your front line immune response. Then you have your adaptive immune response, where you've already had a previous infection where they're recorded. You have B cells and you have your T cells. There's T cell memory cells, where it keeps record of previous infection. People are very scared about, oh my God, doctor, read. Read what it says. This is the innate immune response and adaptive. What an amazing creation that God has created in the human body. It's really a thing of awe, honestly. It's a miracle. And I trust that response far greater than I trust the big pharmaceutical companies to put something inside of me on a virus that they've manufactured via gain-of-function testing. That's science. There's nothing that can be debunked here. Nothing can be debunked here. There is an innate immune response and there's an adaptive immune response. And it's the amount of lies that is out there, just it's very frustrating. Very frustrating to see humans, just not really paying attention and not putting the pieces together. Like, how many times are they going to say to us that this is going to happen and it's going to supposed to help us, but it doesn't actually help us? We just further plunge into the pandemic. See, my company didn't know one thing. They didn't know I was in on the game, that I knew that they were in on the game. What do I mean by that? There was an email that was sent out, or I believe around April 2020. And once I saw that subject line, I said, I know. They are part of the Great Reset. And you should really research the Great Reset, by the way. World Economic Forum, Davos Group, the Great Reset, and the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. It's quite perplexing, actually. that nobody's really thinking. So my company didn't know that I knew that what was the game, and that I knew that they were in on the game, working with the New World Order and the globalists and all of the major corporations that have any sway or clout. I saw this email in April, and it said "new normal" in the subject line of the email. You know what I did? I called my manager. I told him, hey, such and such. I'll just say John. Because I'm a consummate professional, so I'm not mentioning my company's name right now. I'm not going to mention my company's name right now because they haven't done a full on force. I know that's coming. By the way, tomorrow's news today. There's going to be another lockdown, and it's going to be much more severe than what we've been going through, right? The whole idea is to lock us down, loosen the restrictions, lock us down, loosen the restrictions, lock us down, and it's getting progressively further and further more totalitarian. So there is going to be another lockdown. See, I already know that they've already sent this email that you need to be fully vaccinated by October 11th, or take a COVID test. So I know there's going to be this new lockdown, and I know what the next email is going to say. The next email is going to say, hey, Sean, or they're going to probably address it to all U.S. employees. Oh, U.S.-based employees, you must be either fully vaccinated or be terminated. That's the next email, right? This is all rolling out. The script is rolling out. I already know the script, and there's going to be a lot of discussion on this script. I'm going to try to provide you so you understand what's coming. And why is it coming? And how that's going to essentially put us more and more into enslavement. Whether that be physical enslavement through lockdowns and checkpoints on the highway, or a digital gulag, a digital enslavement, which is also being done in Australia right now. And that's not even a scope. That's way too many things to talk about. So I knew about this, about what was going on. So I saw new normal on the email. So I called my manager. I said, hey, John. I said, I'm just letting you know, this is a manufactured bioweapon. This is all about the vaccine. This is going to lead to forced inoculations. And I just wanted to let you know, I'm never going to take this vaccine. I know too much about it. I know I've seen the research papers. They literally are using, I believe, GP120, which is a part of is like a receptor for the HIV, using the HIV like delivery system homology in the SARS gain of function version of virus that's out there right now. They also have research papers showing bat H2 receptor to human H2 receptor affinity to make it connect from a zoonotic virus, which is an animal-based virus, to make it a human-based virus. Connecting from bat H2 receptor, which are the receptors that are primarily located in your lungs, to make that connection much more easier, so to say. And I've seen those papers. I've read those papers. It's there. Dr. Shi Zhangli, Batwoman. She's a researcher. She's the director, coincidentally. She's the director of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. You can't make this stuff up, man. You really can't. You really can't make it up. So I told my manager, I'm never going to get this vaccine. And, I told him, let me give you tomorrow's news today. This is back in April of 2020. I said, they're going to bring in a vaccine passport. They're already talking about it. They're already deploying YouTube videos on it. And it's already in their stated documents that they want to have a vaccination record, and it'll be on a QR code. And I also went furthermore to tell them about what else is coming that still hasn't even come yet, even today, but it's coming. And I told them about there's going to be, they've gone so far as to try to develop technology and patents for microneedle vaccine / vaccination record on a microneedle vaccine patch. That's been developed by MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Rice University. I really showed them, I sent them the Rice University article. I sent it to my manager. I said, that's coming. The vaccine passports are coming. It's going to be a QR code. We're going to be eventually banned from travel if you don't get this vaccine. So when I called him after the September 9th email, the email came out, and I called him, I think, within like 30 minutes. And guess what? He knew exactly why I was calling. I was like, oh, yeah, I know why you're calling. I said, oh, yeah, you do. Oh, yeah, you do. And he's like, you know, he's a great manager. He's very professional, you know. And he's like, yeah, this caught me blindsided. We weren't informed. Of course, you weren't going to be informed because this is top down. It's going to happen, bam, and no one's going to know, and you're just going to have to be a good little slave and do as we say, because this is slavery, right? My dad moved to this place from Pakistan. By far the greatest country in the world. By far the greatest country in the world. There's no contest. As someone who's a Muslim, and a Shiite Muslim at that, where they're the Taliban and the Wahhabis, if you want to know the biggest problem is this Wahhabi brand of Islam, okay? They're the ones who are being funded by our government, by the way, and all these other major governments, because they would like to keep these boogeymen in power. Just look what happened with Afghanistan. They just left, man. Are you serious? The U.S. military literally just left Bagram Air Force Base wide open. And left weapons there. Man, the script is so rigged. And the sad part is nobody sees it. Nobody's seeing. They may see a few things, but they're not connecting. These are all connected. So, as I was talking to my manager, he's like, this is just another check. We have to do this just to see if one customer is not gonna want you to come on. So I'm a consultant. I literally do A to Z. I design, I implement, I troubleshoot. Networks, network security, cybersecurity tools for critical infrastructure. I love what I do, man. I love what I do. And they've taken aim at what I do, We're in this fact check era now, right? If you go to Google, you type in anything with COVID vaccine, masks, COVID in general, or Trump, right? If you put any of those keywords in, you're going to get a fact check, either through USA Today or Snopes or Reuters. Everybody's fact checking. That's the biggest insult to my intelligence. The biggest insult to my intelligence. Telling me how to think. See, the problem in our school system is that they have everybody memorize little factoids and or learn about, certain mathematical processes. But they never teach you how to critically think. They'll teach you how to become like an employee, right? and a lot of people have great careers. Like I have a great career. I love what I do, right? It's a shame. So I don't like to be. I don't like for them to put me in a situation where it tells me like I'm dumb. You're telling me how to think? Oh no no. It's a shame. It really is a shame that, and people are probably going straight. Oh, research. Oh, that was just a conspiracy theory. Oh, those dumb conspiracy theorists. They're so misleading, and they never read about it because there's no magic ball here, right? The stuff that I'm going to come out with future videos, there's no magic ball here, right? I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not somebody who predicts stuff. They've already told us what they're going to do and when they want to achieve it by. All you have to do is go and research it. And if you find out that there's this agenda, there's a 2030 agenda, and then beyond that, there's even further up into 2050, as far as I know. I don't know anything further beyond 2050. I don't even know if they want the world to exist by then, right? There's a metaphysical component here, and that's where I'm going to be driving here shortly. But yeah, they're taking taking aim at my livelihood, you know, and for something I love to do, right? And this is the way I feed my family. This is what I love to do. I've been doing it for 24 years. Exceptionally. I'm amazing at what I do. I love what I do. When you love what you do, you're amazing at it. Right? There's not one person that can come out after watching this video and say, you know what? Sean didn't know his stuff. Not one person. Not one. That's how much I love doing what I do. You know? And now the President of the United States, so-called President of the United States, has the audacity to tell me it's not about freedom or personal choice, that I don't want to put an experimental mRNA injection that was a DARPA-funded experiment in 2013. Go look it up. Type in Moderna. Go to Google. Type in Moderna and type in DARPA. 25 million. You'll get a link. You know what it's going to say? It's going to say DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, is awarding $25 million to Moderna Therapeutics. For what exactly? mRNA. This is a government-funded experiment. The proof is in the pudding. It's very frustrating to know all of these details and yet tell me I'm an anti-vaxxer. And they're coming after my because I know that there's going to be this next email. It's going to come unless we stop it. Unless we wake up very quickly, very rapidly. I know that next lockdown's coming. You know, once the fall comes around, it gets colder. That's when they're going to try to bring in another lockdown. That's the way it always works. That's the way it worked last year. They went into lockdown, around October 10th, 11th, 12th of 2020? Thank God for living in Texas, right? Us Texans, we don't like being told what to do. And I'm talking about even Democrat liberals, okay? There's even more freedom in them than other liberals and Democrats that are out in sunny California or New York. It's like they love to be enslaved. Like, tell me what to do. Please tell me what to do. So they're coming after my job. I've been for 24 years I've been doing this. And there's 80 million other Americans. Wow. That's a quarter of the nation that doesn't want to take an experimental mRNA, and you're going to coerce them? "24 years ago, in 1997, I made $8 an hour doing computer help desk troubleshooting. After a year after getting my first computer, which was like a Packard 133 megahertz computer, learned enough about computers to parlay that into an initial computer job, which became my career. Took Cisco classes, learned about Cisco networking, became amazing at that. Then started developing took a consulting job, learned about consultancy, A to Z, talking to the customer, explaining to the customer what the product is, how we're going to install it, develop these are things that I've had to develop. That's my development. I wouldn't be the husband I am today without my career. I wouldn't be the father. It's partially, Obviously, God is number one reason, but my career, my God, religion, my parents, my brothers. I wouldn't be the father that I am today without my career, because it helped me, it grounded me, it made me want to achieve something, goal oriented. I've always been goal oriented. Always wanted to be the best, right? I've never thought of myself, no, I've always wanted to be the best, So like the famous rapper Drake, what does he say? Started from the bottom, now I'm here, or now we're here. I started from the bottom. I've come up. And now they're going to coerce us into taking this experimental mRNA vaccine right now. Other people have already done it. Methodist Hospital, I believe, has mandated the vaccine, or you're fired. United Airlines has mandated the vaccine, or you're terminated. And I've been watching all of this shenanigans, all this malarkey going on for about 18, 19 months. I'm like, my goodness gracious, like, they're just lying. The whole time they're lying. Man, I would love to have a chance to grill Fauci. Man, he wants to think, anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers. This is what this man said. He literally, you should hear what he said about the masks. He says, people shouldn't be wearing masks right now. He said, it may make you feel better. It may even block a droplet. It may even block a droplet. A droplet? Then you get into mask sizes, and none of the masks work. The best mask on the market, N95 mask, does not work. It can block 0.3, 0.4 microns of size, which is like the size of a bacteria. Viruses are far more smaller and microscopic than bacteria. Like 0.02 microns in size, 0.03 micron, 0.04 microns in size. It's like taking a grapefruit and a tangerine, right? The grapefruit is the bacteria, the tangerine is the virus. But, in a much more microscopic scale. They don't work. They've always been designed to work in acute settings. And I'm jumping all over the place because there's so many things to talk about, so many points of frustration. As a father, as a husband, a father of 4 children, 4 beautiful children, 2 boys, 2 girls, love them. Seeing them miraculously born. Such a beautiful experience. You know, as a parent, when your child falls, how much it hurts to see them cry. It hurts. It hurts. Just today, my son got his hand stuck in the door, started crying. It hurts to see your kids cry. There's an innate love that's given to parents towards their children. And I just wish there were more good parents out there, right? There are, but there could be more. But that's what they want to destroy. They don't like families. They don't want the family structure. The government can tell you what to do apparently now, right? I mean, what's coming next? And I know this is coming next, by the way. Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer? Right? I'm the anti-vaxxer. Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer? Oh, you're not a good parent anymore because you refuse to help others. So that's how they're going to, because, the state, runs, they control how you live. They control what you teach your kids, right? There is a reason why the public school system is free. And there's a reason why really, really never teaches you how to critically think. Just got to know these things. I went to public school. I had a great education. But that's just to develop a foundation. You still got to do your own thinking. Think. Understand. Feel the essence of things. And for me, this whole thing, what's the essence of this? It's freedom. It's the power of choice. The freedom of choice. There's one thing I've done. I would also mention that I've done a lot of deep theological research. I love studying theology. Love studying religions. Specifically, the 3 major monotheistic religions: Christianity, Judaism, Islam. And there's one universal principle I can share, which is actually fits well here. And what is that? Is that all 3 major monotheistic religions acknowledge a very core tenet. And what is that tenet? It's called free will. That every human being has the free will to make a decision, right or wrong, and live with those consequences. Free will is at the bedrock of these 3 monotheistic religions. And even in other polytheistic religions as well, for that matter. This is a universal truth. It's free will. And it's a shame. They are not even... This is literally an inalienable right given to us by God. And they want to take that away. And that's not going to happen. That's not happening on my watch. No, I'm not. This is why I'm coming out and talking about it. And I have to talk about more. There's just way too much. Like I can't leave this world not talking about it. Right? I was telling my wife, this is insane. Like there's going to be a moment they're going to activate me, right? And that moment came when I got that email. They've activated me. And I hope everybody out there, if you're on the fence, activate. Speak out. Educate. Vehemently say to them, I am not an anti-vaxxer. I am pro-immune system. Part of my theological research as well And also studying about the New World Order, the Illuminati, kind of goes in parallel as well. But obviously, first was the theological research, and also in conjunction with understanding the Illuminati, the New World Order, and their agenda, is you have to understand the devil. You have to know we're in the throes of an epic showdown between God and the devil. There's a metaphysical component to this that cannot be denied. There's a reason why all of the famous musicians, the rappers, the pop artists, if you ever watch their music videos, there's always some dark component to it. They show images of Satan. They show images of demonically possessed people without no soul. It's been happening forever. Many of the major artists, you're always going to see there's going to be some indication of the dark side, so to say. I've studied the devil for a very long time, both theologically and also part of the whole understanding the Illuminati, and it all eventually goes up to the top. These governments, these major corporations, they're doing the work of the devil. They are not pro-human. They are anti-human. They have always been anti-human. So, for example, if a government can coerce you or downright force you to take an experimental mRNA injection, which is also known as gene therapy, by the way, and hang your employment over your head to get it, know this. That is the work of the devil. To take people's hard-earned livelihoods, people who have worked hard, never asked for any handouts, just been working and trying and contributing to the society that is essentially enslaved us or enslaving us. Technology. I've been working in technology for 24 years, right? Technology can be a great thing, right? It's like the example, like a knife. A knife, you can cut an apple with it or you can kill a human being with it. It's a tool. If a government can force or coerce every single person to take an experimental mRNA injection, know that it is from the devil. Putting something in your body that you don't want, that's from the devil. If they're also willing to categorize you and put you into you're either vaccinated status or an unvaccinated status, that is going to introduce a demonization towards this is exactly what they want, though. This is why when the next lockdown comes, they're going to use, for those who have gotten the vaccine, they're going to keep on hearing that this is the pandemic of the unvaccinated. So then they can turn those who have been vaccinated against those of us who haven't been unvaccinated or who aren't vaccinated. That is the script. So then that could create more. It's all about divisiveness. This is literally a divide and conquer. This is literally the playbook. This has been their playbook for a very long time, and no one sees it. And those who have seen it, say something. If you haven't, get the word out. Talk to people. Categorizing people into groups. I remember that there was a time where there used to be a segregation based on color. No, that was also from the devil. Right? Segregating people by color. White bathroom, black bathroom. Correct? That exists. Now it's going to be, oh, they literally did this at football games. Oh, here's the vaccinated section. And that's the unvaccinated section. Oh my goodness gracious. That's literally segregation. Oh man. This is sad. If they can force an injection into me and 80 million other Americans who've decided to either, you know what, I'm just going to wait and see how this all plays out and maybe get it at another time. Or those are like, no, like me, I'm never going to get it. Like, you're going to have to take me. Like, I'm ready. Like, I know that they've already building these camps, FEMA camp. They've been building it for a long time. Like, dude, try to take me. All right? I'm not playing around anymore. Enough of the lies. Enough of the nonsense. There is a dark element metaphysically happening here, and no one's seeing that part specifically. When I say no, that is from the devil, it is from the devil. You should ask the big boys up top, why don't you come out and say, deny the devil? Ask them. Oh, people say you're Satanist or Luciferian. They say you do these rituals, which they do, by the way. Bohemian Grove, that's already been done. You know, burning an effigy in front of a 40-foot tall statue of an owl called Moloch. That's been confirmed. Some burning an effigy, a child's effigy, if I'm not mistaken. That's what's happening. That's crazy. And no one knows that there's a metaphysical component to this. The devil likes to invert things. That's one of the key things also in my studies of understanding the devil. He likes to make things that are forbidden, he likes to make them permissible. And those that are permissible, he likes to make them forbidden. Things that are right, he likes to make them wrong. Things that are wrong, he likes to make them right. So like, I'll give you an example. So those that Satan likes to take items that are religiously significant and invert them. I'll give you an example. So you have for Christians, the what's the biggest symbol for Christians? The cross, right? So somebody who's a Satanist or a Luciferian, they'll take the cross and put it upside down. The upside down cross. So it's like taking something that is meant to be a symbol for religion and take it up and put it upside down. So something that's religion's, there's no system of morality if there wasn't for religion. Like the first 5 books of Moses, the Torah, introduced a code for people to live by and abide by. There was no concept of morality until religion. This is confirmed. If you study it, you'll know. There was a doctrine that was handed down by our Creator. I mean, think about it. And I'm just going to kind of close on this one, right? If they can force myself and 80 million other Americans to take this vaccine, where does it end from there? What else can they put into our bodies? Once we allow this to happen, it's game over.